All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the others of the GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity. All the men and women who follow. This is Brother Krajazar from the Fountain of Living Waters coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled Babylon is Babylon. 2026 might as well be 1964. All right, this is stemming from a encounter that I had the other day. I was at like a Walgreens, and it was an older lady in the in line, and I guess she was from out of town. But long story short, she didn't like the service that she was getting from one of the restaurants that she had went to, and someone told her, "Well, you on the wrong side of town," pretty much. Um, and I was like, "Yeah, here in Omaha it's very segregated. Down north, that's where you have Judah for the most part, and then over south is Issachar, and then out west, is where mainly your upper class white folk are, and then of course you have people sprinkled in between, but it's very segregated here in Omaha, and in Nebraska period, but especially here in Omaha. So she made a statement. She said, it's 2026. You know, there shouldn't be, segregation, or there shouldn't be. I should have to go to that side of the town to get treated a certain way, or at a restaurant, this, that, and the third. But my response was, it's still America. You know, it's still America, and that the racist undertone is always going to be here in America, as well as it's still Edomites. That's why Babylon in 2026 might as well be 1964, because Esau has kept his hatred. He's always going to keep his hatred. So, Lord's what is edifying. Let's just start at the beginning of where this hatred stems from, and then we get a couple of the precepts, and go ahead and end it with that. But this is Genesis 27:1. It says, "And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, My son. He said unto him, and he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold, now I am old, and I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die." So, Isaac is he understands what's going on, that he ain't got too much longer. So he wants to give the blessing, pass that blessing down from Abraham to that Abraham gave to him, which is the rulership. And so, long story short, we're gonna skip down a little bit. Um, his wife Rebecca hears this, and she wants Jacob to get the blessing. So she prepares the food and dresses Jacob up. Matter of fact, we'll get that right here. Verse 11, it says, "And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be the curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them." So, he brought the kid, and she verse is done down 16, "And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And it came to pass, and he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy power brought it to me. Because this is the same day, you know, this is the same day. And when you go on a hunt, a hunt can take anywhere from a couple hours to a couple days. You're not guaranteed to get some game. Matter of fact, let me see if I can look it up. Give me a second. Bear with me. All right, here we go. Get some context. How long does an average game hunt take in the Middle East? Typically around 5 to 10 days, but can vary, often incorporating significant time travel with itineraries designed to maximize hunting. So, like I said, it can take a couple days, to get something. Just depending on the area that you're in, what you're trying to get. It could take a while. You're not guaranteed. He didn't have a gun to shoot an animal. You know, what did he say? He said to take his quiver, right? He told him to take his arrow and his quivers. Take thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow. So he's shooting it with a bow and arrow. So it could take some while. So that's why he's kind of surprised, like, you back already? And you didn't make it too? But let's see, right, he said, because the Lord thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. He was still kind of skeptical. And Jacob went near unto Esau his father and felt him, and he said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. So he know his son, but he was conflicted. So he did the test, and he said at verse 24, and he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelt the smell of his raiment, and blessed him. And he said, See, the smell of my son, as the smell of the field, which the Lord had blessed. So that's another thing, he had to smell like the field. He had to smell like he was outside. You know what I mean? Because, when Jacob and Esau were born, Jacob was a man said that he was dwelling in tents. Basically, he was a well-rounded man. But Esau was a man of the field. He liked going outside, camping, hunting, fishing, doing all that, which, is the spirit of Jacob and Esau to this day. But Isaac just needed to smell. You need that last bit of confirmation that it was Esau. And of course, Jacob means to supplant, and Jacob has supplanted, his father via his mother. All right. Verse 28 says, Therefore the Most High give thee the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Right? So he got the blessing, right? So now he has the birthright, which Esau had sold him anyways. So really, it was Jacob's anyways. So then Jacob gets back, or Esau gets back. He tries to do the same thing, and he doesn't get any blessing, right? Or he gets a secondary blessing, which is the fatness of the earth, right? Which is why Esau has the dominion right now, which is, let's see, verse 37, it says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac said, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right. So, and that's where we're at right now. Esau has the dominion, and that yoke is off of his neck. But it's going to get put right back on. Here very shortly. But right now we are in the time of Esau's rule, right? So this is the beginning, the genesis, the very beginning of the hatred between Jacob and Esau, right? Verse 41 it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning of my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So that's why, when you go to restaurants or you go on the wrong side of town or, anything, man, that's why there's this racial tension between us. We've been battling for thousands of years. This ain't nothing new. This ain't no 1900s. This ain't no 1400s. All right. This isn't, 32 BC. This is going all the way back to Jacob and Esau in the womb. All right. This beef been budding for a while now. All right. So that's why it's always gonna be up. It's up and it's stuck, as they would say. It's up and it's stuck. There's always gonna be tension. So this is Ezekiel 35:5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, an everlasting hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by their force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So when the Babylonians were taking the Israelites into captivity, you had Edomites helping them, assisting them even, catching stragglers, catching people who were trying to flee, and even, tearing down houses, just being a total demon. But it's because they had that perpetual hatred, an everlasting hatred, from the start to the middle to the finish. All right. That's why they have this strong what's the word to use? Enmity. Let's see if we can get that enmity. Enmity is a state of feeling or being actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. There's a very strong enmity between Jacob and Esau, and it all stems from that blessing. All right, Jeremiah 23:25, it says, I have heard with the prophets. It's like, okay, that's why I got this. So as I stated, Babylon is Babylon, right? America is America. So you're always gonna have this racial tension between us, and it doesn't matter if it's 2026 and people believe that they're free and they can come and go as they please or whatnot. If it's freaking 1960 whatever, and Martin Luther King, is talking about equality or whatnot, and really that's what that lady was coming in. You know, she was coming in that Martin Luther King spirit. You know, black man and white man and red man on the red hills of Georgia. You know, the content of his character, not the color of his skin. That's not a reality. It's just not a reality. You know, since I've heard Saki, Jeremiah 23 and 25, I've heard what the prophet said that prophesy lies in my name, so called Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so called Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? Talking about equality and everyone being treated the same. Everyone's never been treated the same. There always has to be a hierarchy. The elder shall serve the younger. A king needs servants. A slave needs a master. There's levels to this life. There's always been a so-called caste system. A caste system, yeah. A caste system is a rigid, uh, hereditary social hierarchy where individuals are born into a specific rank, limiting social mobility and dictating status, occupation, and social interactions. Now, these days and age, you can kind of move up the hierarchy here in America. You can, and this is the caste system is based out of India, but and these are the different caste system or the different people. The lowest people to the highest people. People who work day in and day out. Then you have your shop owners, then your warriors and kings and priests and scholars, and in our kingdom it's going to be similar. You'll have your regular everyday heathen at the bottom. Well, at the very bottom is Esau, but Esau is going to be done away with. But you'll have your heathen at the bottom, and you'll have another level above them, which will be the Israel, the 2/3 being reincarnated, and then you'll have another level, which will be the 144,000 and the 1/3, the elect, you know, they're going to be above them, and then of course the highest level where you'll have Yahushai and the 12, you know, along with the Most High being the Most High, of course, but it's always been like this, and like I said, here in America, you can be born in the gutter and learn how to shoot a basketball and get up to the top, but that's not how life has always been. This is a very new concept. But what's not a new concept is the concept of hate, the concept of Esau keeping that rage against us. So we'll get this last precept and end with this perfect precept. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so of his wickedness, man. You can't trust him. All right, you matter of fact, let me read a little bit more in this. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not altogether been wiped away. Right? They have those I don't even know what the hell it's called. Let me see. It's like a machine that removes rust. Right? They got a spray like you can spray it and it'll remove the rust. And then they got another one where shit. It's like a machine Yeah, that's it. Where you stick your hands into the machine, and um this is not what I'm looking for. Right. Okay, yeah. It's the one I'm speaking about is for car parts. That has to be it, but it's okay, it looks like it's the same thing. But basically, you would shoot the gun um at it. I think you put it in the box and then you shoot the gun at it, and it removes the rust. Long story short, it removes the rust, but you never can fully remove rust. It'll come back. Let's see, can you ever fully remove rust? But it's crucial to immediately protect the bare metal with a primer or paint or oil to prevent the from rusting again, as the damage is already done. You know, you can remove it and then seal it, but if you don't, just removing rust doesn't work. All right, it is what it is, and that's Esau is who he is. All right, he's the evil of this world. All right, he's the necessary evil of this world that the Lord has allowed to, come into his own in this place, and he's going to be judged for everything. But in order for him to be judged, he has to go through these actual actions. He has to become that ultimate evil. He has to become the devil himself, or else there'd be nothing to judge him by. But you have to accept him for what he is and who he is. So that's all I really wanted to get with this one. Lord's will, this was edifying. And with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity, all the men and women who follow. Shalom.